Christian, you see the way of Jesus being played out, even in yourself, and you had to live that where you are, which is a challenge in itself.
Right.
How do we help then take that same type of way of Jesus, let's say, that you're trying to live out where you are, embody, enact? How do we get our people to do that in the midst of the fragment world in which we find ourselves? I know it's slightly a different tactic, but similar to what you've already said. But is there another thing that we can see with that?
Yeah, I do think that in the end, what's going to matter most in terms of healing a country would be the healing of individual lives, and that is really a matter, I think, of leaning into people in a community of faith, including leaning into the lives of people that disagree with you. And not viewing them as political projects that you have to change their views on, but getting to know them and their stories and their history and the seasons in life that they may be in. I could give you a couple of examples maybe that help illustrate it in my own life. One was that there was a person who back in the 1990s, my wife Cindy and I went to church in DC, National Presbyterian Church, and there was a couple there that we got to know, and they liked us very much. We had them over for dinner. We weren't intimate couples by any means, but we got along well. And this couple, was particularly the woman, was a very ardent Republican, and she was extremely happy when I was in the Bush administration, first as a deputy speechwriter, then I was director of something called the Office of Strategic Initiatives. And so I think she was so proud of me, and she felt like, we're on the same team. And so there was a warmth in that relationship. During the 2016 election, and then afterward, when Trump was elected, I was pretty vocal, pretty outspoken in my writing, and I'm a pretty public writer. I write for the Atlantic and the New York Times, and she had read some things that I had written, and she was furious with me, and she wrote me a very heated email, and what I did in response to her, and I wouldn't necessarily have done this, 10 or 15 years ago, but I wrote her back and I said, so-and-so, there's a lot of energy behind this note, and you have very strong convictions about this. Why don't we get together for lunch? We'll meet at Jay Gilbert's. It's a restaurant here in McLean, and I'm happy to buy. And let's just talk. It's not likely that I'm going to change your views, and you're probably not going to change mine, but it would be a shame if a relationship that really was based on a common faith were broken over politics. And she wrote back actually a pretty warm note, particularly given the first one that I got. She said, "Oh, that's really nice. Let's do that." And so we met for lunch. And I would say 80% of it was me asking questions, not all political questions, about her life, her children, things that were unfolding. But then I asked her, "What do you listen to, politically?" And she told me. She went through the talk shows that she listened to, the things that she read. And it was very clear to me what kind of the sources of information were. And, when that ended, we were in a good place. We had kind of reconnected and taken an interest in each other's lives. And all of a sudden, those political differences weren't defining.